morning, everyone. I see our participants are slowly starting to come in. It is early on a Friday morning, and I hope everyone has planned to have a fantastic Friday. Um, I see that we have an agenda in front of us, so you can kind of see what we are lined up to talk about. It is going to be an exciting conversation. And with that, I'm going to let Miss Marlise Wicker go ahead and do the initial greeting, and then we'll take off from there. Marlise?
Thank you, Janine, and good morning, everyone. And my name is Marlise Wicker, and I'm the Economic Equity Administrator for the Office of Diversity and Equity and Inclusion. In our efforts to make procurement process clear, this outreach event, it will be the first of several series to put together what we will discuss of different parts and pieces on how to make an effective bid submission. As we begin the session, it is being recorded and will be available for view in the future. All participants registered will receive a copy of the PowerPoint. We want to welcome your questions using the chat feature on the Zoom. So please enter your questions or comments using the chat. As you can see, only the participants presenting today will be visual, but we know that you're out there and we want to hear from you. So again, use the chat. So let's begin our coffee and conversations with a welcome from our partners at the Minority Business Assistance Center, followed by a welcome by Administrator Kenneth Wilson. Janine?
Thank you so much, Marlise. And it is my pleasure as the Interim Director of the Columbus Urban League Minority Business Assistance Center to host this event. I thoroughly enjoy meeting and speaking with each one of our Franklin County Commissioner partners, learning from them, and today's event is near and dear to the mission of MBAC, which is procurement. Procurement for us means we're getting contracts and capital and into the hands of our small business owners that will help them sustain, thrive, and survive in today's economic conditions. So I am excited about what we have to share today. I will be learning right along with each and every one of you and anxious to hear what our facilitators have to share with us. And I'm going to take the mic off and turn it over to Mr. Kenneth Wilson.
Thank you so much. Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to Franklin County's Board of Commissioners, Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion's Coffee and Conversations this morning. I'm Kenneth Wilson, County Administrator. I'm so glad you set aside time to hear about how to place your business in a position to seek contract opportunities with the county for goods or services. We want to this morning provide you with all the basics you need to know in order to bid on business opportunities with the county. We want to find as many qualified small businesses as possible that can compete for work with us. Franklin County is a $1.8 billion enterprise, and that means that we're obligated to have that money go into the community as much as possible. So we want to give you all the vital information you need as this Coffee and Conversations is entitled, How to Successfully Bid for Business with Franklin County. So we want you to listen this morning, take a lot of notes, and please feel free to ask a lot of questions because we welcome your active engagement this morning. And I'd like to thank our partners, the Ohio Business Assistance Center, for your support and cooperation in putting this production together. I would like to thank the dedicated team of the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion that's committed to do this work of promotion of economic inclusion. Because when everyone is included to participate at the table, we all win as a county. And remember, Franklin County, our saying is we're focused on every resident every day. And there's no better way to do that than to have as many small businesses actively working with us to serve the 1.3 million residents of Franklin County. So again, happy Friday. The weather's great. I hope you learned something this morning that will help you be able to write down some procurement goals on paper and see those come to fruition. Thank you.
Thank you, Administrator. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mica Withers. I am your Chief Economic Equity and Inclusion Officer here at Franklin County Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. I want to thank our Administrator, Kenneth Wilson, and our partners of Minority Business Assistance Centers for being here, along with our Franklin County Purchasing Department, helping us all to learn on how to successfully do business with Franklin County. As Administrator Wilson pointed out, that you are our smaller minority businesses, helping us to drive our economic inclusion in our community. It is important that we continue to help support you to build on what your businesses are all about and help our increase our supplier diversity here in our community. So I hope that you gather all the information that you need and continue to reach into Franklin County Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion so we can continue to support your small and minority business efforts as we move forward. Enjoy the presentation today, and I look forward to working with all of you. Please ask questions, reach in, and help for this morning to be a successful event. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamika. Good morning. My name is Tracy Matthew. I am the Assistant Director of the Franklin County Purchasing Department. Director Megan Perry-Balanier is not able to be with us today, but she leads, you will see, a dynamic staff which serves to support the procurement for the commissioners and Franklin County agencies according to Ohio law. Our department coordinates each step of the competitive bid process, from creating bid timelines, releasing bid opportunities for vendors, opening bids, overseeing product demonstrations, all the way through to assisting with negotiations and contract execution. You will learn today that our team of knowledgeable coordinators aid to assist you with successfully submitting your bid to Franklin County. I would like to introduce Mona Walker, our purchasing supervisor, and Mona will provide an overview of registering and submitting bids with Franklin County, and then she will introduce you to our coordinators. Before recently joining Franklin County, Mona was a supervisor at a college where she gained more than 2 decades of experience working with vendors, mostly in technology-related projects. She believes supplier diversity adds economic value as it encourages the growth of local diverse businesses. She is pursuing her MBA for working professionals with a major in project management and supply chain from The Ohio State University. When not working or studying, Mona can be found in her kitchen cooking and baking using ingredients from local farmers and farmers markets.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Tracy, for the nice welcome. Good morning, Administrator Wilson, Tamika, Marlies, the MBAC team, and the SCDE team. I welcome all our business partners and vendors to this meeting. I'd like to do a short presentation, if I may. So give me a second or so to start the presentation. Can somebody give me a thumbs up if they can see my presentation?
We can see it, Mona.
We can see it.
Thank you. Thank you. Today, I'll give you a brief overview of the functions of the purchasing department and then introduce you to our coordinators. The county purchasing is governed by the ORC, or the Ohio Revised Code. And that dictates how the county purchases services and goods. The total cost of the project play an important role in this. Usually projects more than $50,000 have a different kind of guidelines that we need to follow than below 50K, although that is not we might still do an RFP or an ITB, even if projects might be below 50K. So it's at the discretion of the county, but that dollar amount plays some role in the kind of procurement we might be pursuing. Usually purchases above $50,000 are competitively bid. We have 2 kinds of competitive bids. One is called an invitation to bid, and the other is a request for proposal. And I'll go over more details about each in the next following slides. Invitation to bid is usually for items that are more quantitative, so maybe pens, pencils, cars, foods for inmates. Those are very specific and simple list of items that we need to procure with a particular kind of quality and a delivery date. Pricing is usually important, and that is what determines the outcome of those ITBs. There are no negotiations usually. However, we may seek clarification. Once an ITB is awarded, it becomes a public record. An RFP, on the other hand, is more quantitative. So if we have any performance requirements for a project, or need some qualitative requirements for a project, for example, a software, usually we need to have some performance specifications for those projects when you're procuring a software. And so we will usually use an RFP for those kind of projects. And usually they became public records information about bid opening, but before then, we cannot divulge information.
Excuse me, Mona.
Mhm.
Excuse me, Mona. This is Marlise. If you could please extend your screen to full screen, the presentation to the full screen.
Is this better?
We can still see your notes on the.
Okay.
Thank you.
The vendor register, here is a link to vendor registration. It's a pretty long link. It's at https purchasing.franklinccounty.gov/business/vendor registration. An easier way to do this would be to do a Google search for Franklin County, Ohio Purchasing Department vendor registration. You can also put in the tag vendor registration, but I wanted to show you how our screen or the main page looks. This is what you will be, this is our purchasing department's main page. And if you click on this menu on the right-hand side, top corner, you would be prompted with the blue screen over here. And if you can click on vendor registration, it will take you to the vendor registration site. As I said, you can do a Google search and go directly to the vendor registration site, but I wanted to also show you other options on this website, including the small and emerging business information, the bid opportunities information, other cooperative and contracts. So, there's more information on this website than just vendor registration. When you are at the vendor registration website, you can register as a vendor to receive these bids and opportunities. You can also, at the same time, if you already have registered, you can update your registration. It also has a way to register for small and emerging businesses. Of course, it will ask you for some additional documents that you have to provide, but upon providing all of those documents, you'll be registered vendor with the county to receive bids and ITBs. Another website that I wanted to show you was the bids, where the bids were listed and advertised. That link is bids.franklincounty.ohio.gov. Again, you can look for Franklin County, Ohio Purchasing Department bids. You can just do a Google search for that. I know a lot of terms, but we take you directly to that site. And the bids opportunities are all the open bids currently listed. Well, there are some awarded bids on there too, but any active bid is listed on the website. It also has a reference number, the title of the bid, the date of the opening, and most importantly, it has the contacts. These are our coordinators usually working on the specific bids. They would help you. I'll be introducing you to them, and they would be helping you. If you have any questions, concerns with your bids, they can help you. If you, when you're on the bids website, you can also download the bid package. When you do that, make sure that you're reading through the whole bid package. Make sure that you're paying attention to the schedule, because that is what determines when what is due. Usually we have a question and answer deadline, so make sure you pay attention to that. You can also communicate with the purchasing coordinators during the question and answer session, although we like to have the question and answer in writing. Again, the coordinators cannot help individual vendors on their submission, but they can help answer questions, and those are all posted on the bids website for that particular bid. Next is competitive procurement notice. It must be advertised in the newspaper, and it's usually governed by the ORC or the Ohio Revised Code. Again, there is specifications on what we need to do. And then when you receive bids, make sure that your bids or the ITBs or the RFPs are sealed. They must not be submitted no later than the published date and time. Usually is timestamp all of our packages that we receive. Must be in the format that the county requested. And if there are any performance bonds and other requirements, they should be included. Now my team of coordinators is going to talk more about the requirements for each of the bids. And I'm going to introduce them next. We have a great team of coordinators who help us with all of these ITBs and RFPs. We have Sharon Tubbs today. Sharon supports the Franklin County Purchasing Department as a senior purchasing coordinator. Her office is located in the downtown courthouse complex, and she's currently fulfilling the duties for construction and professional services for formal bidding requirements. Sharon has worked in this position for more than 23 years. The next coordinator is Jennifer Fair. She's also a senior purchasing coordinator at the Franklin County Purchasing Department. She specializes in software, but also procures a wide range of goods and services, from socks and deodorants for inmates to an advanced e-filling software solutions for the cooks. Jennifer is unable to join us today for this meeting. And the next coordinator is Brad Camlett. Brad is a senior coordinator with the Franklin County Purchasing Department. He handles a variety of general commodity contracts, including food and commissionary supplies for the Franklin County Sheriff's Office, correctional facilities, to contracts for Franklin County Emergency Management and Homeland Security. He also handles healthcare contracts for Franklin County Benefits Department, among many other contracts. He was previously involved in procurement contracts and services for more than 20 years in the federal court system, and has been with Franklin County for more than 8 years. In his spare time, Brad enjoys golf and walking and biking in the Glacier Ridge Metro Park. He's also learning to garden at home. I've now passed on to Sharon, who will be talking more about the requirements for various kinds of bids. Thank you.
Thank you, Mona. Great presentation. Good morning and welcome, everyone. I am going to provide all of you with a brief overview of some of the items that are included in our requirements, starting with where can you view the construction projects and drawings. This information is exclusive to construction projects. These completed documents are not located on the Purchasing Department website. However, you can view the completed drawings and specifications at the following locations. In the Franklin County Courthouse, we have Public Facilities Management, and their address is 373 South High Street. Their office is located on the second floor, and all you have to do is contact Mark Hunter, the Deputy Director for Construction, and his telephone number is 614-525-3800. You would need to schedule a date and time to come into the Public Facilities Management office and view the drawings and the specifications. The second location is the Department of Sanitary Engineering. Their office is located at 280 East Broad Street, formerly known as the old COSI building. The contact person there is Ryan Stowe. He is the project manager. You would simply give Ryan a call, 614-525-4524, to set up an appointment to view the drawings and the specifications. The next location is Key Blueprints. Their office is located at 195 East Livingston Avenue. And the fourth location is the Ohio MBE office, and their office is located at 1393 East Broad Street. If you decide you want to purchase the drawings and specifications, the required deposit on my current project for the Franklin County Correction Center is $250. This deposit is refundable upon return of a clean set of the drawings and specifications. For all other purchasing bids, they can be downloaded and viewed from the purchasing department website. The next item I would like to discuss is the construction pricing form. We ask that all of our bidders complete the pricing response form. We ask that you complete that in ink, typewritten, or print. The bidder shall also show all amounts in words and figures. For all other pricing response forms that are not construction, including your ITB and RFP, they are customized based on the agency's requirement. The bidder must complete all the bid pricing response forms in their entirety. We ask that all of our bidders be sure to examine the bid pricing response form, and if you have questions, please submit your questions in writing during the question and answer period. I would like to also provide all of you with a brief description of one critical aspect of the formal bidding process for construction. This typically does not apply to any other bids. However, there may be special circumstances where a bond may be required for non-construction bids. If your submitted bid is more than $10,000, you must provide a bid guarantee and contract bond, or a letter of credit, a cashier's check, or a check in the amount of 10% of the total bid. So you must provide one or the other. And that should include the obligee being made payable to Franklin County Board of Commissioners. Bonds ensure that contractors can comply with bidding requirements and fulfill their job responsibilities at the agreed prices. Public construction contracts require contractors to secure their bids by providing bonds that serve as a means of legal and financial protection to the county. The next area I'm going to cover is attention to detail. It is imperative that each of our bidders double check their bid submission documents. Your bid will be reviewed based on the content of your submission documents. The bidder who best meets the county's requirement will be considered the lowest and best bidder. The next item I'd like to discuss are the affidavits. The county currently uses these affidavits in all of their bids, and they are the non-collusion affidavit. By completing, signing, and notarizing this document, the bidder is certifying that they are not in collusion with anyone in regard to the bid. The next affidavit is the non-discrimination equal employment opportunity affidavit. The bidder is certifying that they will not discriminate against anyone for any reason. And the next affidavit is the delinquent personal property tax affidavit. By completing, signing, and notarizing this document as well, the bidder is certifying that they are not delinquent in their personal property taxes. All other affidavit certifications, form of agreement, and all other forms must be completed in their entirety. At this time, I would like to turn the presentation over to Brad Camlett, and he will continue the review. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. First of all, I am going to talk about the importance of attending a pre-bid conference. Why do you want to attend one of these pre-bid conferences? Well, a couple of reasons. First of all, it's not mandatory, but we do strongly encourage potential bidders to attend so you can ask questions. And during this pre-bid conference, if we're able to provide you with a short answer during that to your question, then we'll do that. The county isn't held by any oral responses. And if you'd like an official answer from the question that you asked at the pre-bid, then we would ask that you do submit that question in writing to us via email. All the answers to the questions that we receive via email, we will post those answers to the purchasing department website on a day that's designated in the ITB or the RFP. You may also attend a public bid opening where we actually open the bids or proposals. Now I'll talk a little bit more about that in the next section. As far as where to find information about when the county is going to have a pre-bid meeting or a bid opening, well, that information pertaining to that is located in several places within the bid document. I also want to talk about a checklist. All of our bids and our proposals have a checklist that the potential bidder can review before submitting their bid. This checklist identifies the form or documents as well as the number of originals or copies that need to be submitted with your bid to the county. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about RFPs, which are requests for proposals, and ITB, the bid review, and the evaluation criteria. Now, I know Mona talked about this a little bit earlier, but I'm going to just speak a little bit more about it with this. Now, an invitation to bid, again, that's a firm fixed price contract. Again, it's for quantifiable items, supplies, food items for the correctional facilities, possibly commissary items for the sheriff's office as well. Those bids are reviewed by the specification and the price. We are not taking negotiations with an invitation to bid. It's pretty much if you have the lowest price and you meet the specifications and can perform, then if everything works accordingly, then you would be awarded that item. Again, it's based on lowest price that meets the specifications, and if you can perform the requirements in the contract. Then next, I'm going to go on to competitive proposals. Those are RFPs. Those are different from ITBs. The RFP is a structured evaluation process for each phase. It's developed prior to the proposal opening. The proposal, those are evaluated in phases, and there's contract negotiations as well with that. Now, when we open up a proposal at a bid opening, we can't disclose the contents of the proposal. All we can do is read the name of the company that submitted the proposal. I'll backtrack a little bit and talk about the invitation to bid. For an ITB, when we open the proposal opening, and these are public bid openings as well, so you can attend those. We will disclose the pricing on an ITB because there's no negotiations. Lastly, I'm just going to talk about the contract award and the execution. The award of all contracts are made typically to the lowest and best bidder for the items. Again, if you have any questions, I believe Marlise is going to provide our phone numbers and emails to the participants. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions about my presentation here. That being said, I believe I'll turn this back to Marlise. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. I've been watching the chat and we don't have any questions yet, so I guess I'll go to the experts for you and Sharon. What takeaways would you or advice would you give our small emerging businesses as you see as you're going through your procurement processes? Any, I'm not gonna say fatal flaws, but little errors or little tips that you can give them. Brad?
I think the biggest tip that I can give is if we put a bid or a proposal and advertise that, we want you to find out about it. Now, you could be registered with the county, and if you are registered with the county, we certainly do appreciate that. For all our bids and proposals, we do send out a letter notifying companies that we believe can service the bid. Now, again, just because you don't receive one of these notices doesn't mean you can't bid. You could bid on it, but I would encourage you not to sit and wait on receiving some sort of alert or notice in the mail or an email that a project's available as your sole means of alerting you. The best advice I can give is all of our bids and projects are posted on the purchasing department website. So if you visit that regularly, you can see everything that we have out there. And if you have any questions regarding that, call us. But again, it's not advisable to wait to receive something in the mail from us alerting you because you may not always receive it. It may not be an email address that's current within your company, or the notice may be something that doesn't get delivered to the correct person. So that's my biggest takeaway.
Thank you, and I would agree with that. Attending pre-bids, I always encourage small businesses to attend the pre-bid. One, to gather more information and ask their questions, but two, to build relationship with the prime contractors or other contractors within the room. I do have a question before I go to you, Sharon. We do have a question in the chat. An ITB versus an RFP. Please explain the differences. That came from Marla Jones.
You want me to
If
take
one
that?
of you would like to take it.
Again, an ITB is something that's a firm fixed price contract. We're asking for bids but we're not wanting to negotiate anything. A real basic example would be the Franklin County has the correctional facilities have a commissary. In that commissary, they sell various supplies, shampoos, personal care products, candies, things like that. In our bid document, we are asking you to provide your best price for, say, a Reese cup, something like that, or a 4-ounce shampoo, something like that. You do not have to put a price in for every item. You might only be able to supply the Reese cups. What would happen is we would compare your price for Reese cups against maybe, could be 5 other companies. If your price is the lowest and it meets the specification, then if everything else is correct within your bid, we would work to award that item to you. We're not asking to negotiate anything. We're just asking for your best price for that. I hope that helps explain something for a bid. That's just a brief example. If you have questions, you can call me. But now for a proposal, that's more something where we're asking you to help the county with a project. We're asking, we have an issue and we'd like you to help us provide some assistance. Those are based on an evaluation process. That's not always awarded to the lowest price. The pricing is one element of the evaluation. We would possibly also look at other things like past performance as well as your experience. There's a set of requirements that the county would have, and so we would score your proposal based upon your responses. Again, in the short time we have, that's the information I can provide you with. If you have any questions, by all means, please reach out to me. Again, that's just a brief example.
Thank you, Brad. We do have another question before we go to Sharon. Descriptions for projects are in the website, specific for construction, or are we always having to set up an appointment for drawings? So it's a kind of 3 questions.
Okay.
And then it continues, I'm sorry, here. But without logging in, if things change before the submitting deadline, we wouldn't know. So they want to know about.
Let me start off by saying this. Once you download the advertisement for construction projects, you will automatically be notified by the computer system. So if you download any of our bids or construction advertisements, the system will automatically notify you that a new document has been incorporated into the project. Secondly, for the review of bids, if you know that, let's say it's a painting bid, and you know that if you're a painting contractor and you want to purchase the plans, you can certainly go directly to key companies and purchase the plans. And you can review the plans at your leisure. And let's say once you have reviewed the plans, you decide whether or not you're going to bid or you're not going to bid. If you're not going to bid, you can receive a full deposit refund as long as you return a clean copy back to the printing company. I think a part of the question also covered whether or not how you would know if there were any changes. What we recommend is that all of our contractors continue to check the purchasing website up to the date and time of bid closing. There have been instances where we have had to extend our bid openings. And if that does occur, the system once again will automatically send you a notification that an addendum or an amendment has been issued for that particular project. And one other thing I would like to mention, we talk about questions and answers. When you attend our pre-bid conferences, we strongly encourage you to attend, and we strongly encourage you to provide questions. Your written questions becomes the official documentation for our project. And so when we provide our answers back to everyone, that is in written documentation. So it lets everyone know at any time what is taking place on the project. If we need to review our written documentation a year or two after the bid has opened, we're certainly able to do so. So we strongly always encourage our bidders to get your questions in during the question and answer period. Marlise, I'll turn it back over to you to see if there's any other questions that we have.
Great, thank you, Sharon. We do have another question. Who do we contact if we cannot log into the purchasing department website? Was there a recent glitch in the system? I was given Sharon's number and she was able to get this information we needed without logging in. So I guess they're having some problems logging in, and I can reach out to them. Go ahead, Sharon, but I'll reach out to them as well.
What I was going to say, I am personally not aware of any login issues. From time to time, there has been some glitches, but please always contact the main purchasing telephone number, and that number is 614-525-3750. You can always obtain a live person by contacting the main purchasing telephone number. Marlise, back to you.
Thank you. And actually, I'm going to come right back to you for your tips or your final tips or some tips that you would give to the small and emerging businesses to become a successful bidder.
Thank you, Marlise. One of my tips that I would strongly recommend is visit the purchasing website, download the bid or the construction advertisement. That way you are connected. You will automatically receive notification of any changes to that particular project. Read through all of the documents. Carefully familiarize yourself. Once you start reading, start jotting down your questions because we want to receive your questions in writing. The other thing for construction, the bid guarantee and contract bond or bond, it is mandatory if your bid is more than $10,000. In regard to the pricing response form, the pricing response form, it cannot be altered, okay? So we ask that you complete the form in its entirety using figures and some in words. Also, for all other pricing response forms, we ask that you too complete them in their entirety. Some of our pricing forms are single line items. Others are for multiple line items. We ask that you double check your figures, okay? Also, we ask that you please do not alter our pricing form. Do not attempt to write additional notes on the form for clarification. Do not change the way that the form is structured in any way. For those items, if you have questions on the pricing form and you submit those questions early, we're able to assist you and help identify as to how you need to complete the form. Also, we ask that you deliver your bids early, whether that be through a courier service or you're using the United States Postal Service. Your bids must be date and time stamped prior to the closing date for the bid. At this time, I'll turn it back over to Marlise to see if there are any other questions that we would be happy to address for you.
Thank you. I don't see any other questions at this time, but our partners at the Impact Center also put information in the chat regarding education and procurement and bid process. That's on the YouTube channel. So thank you for that. I would ask that if D'Amica or Mona or Tracy have any final comments. We're ahead of schedule, which is good. We're not running over, but we want to make sure that we give the small emerging businesses a chance to ask all their questions. And if not, it might be some follow-up questions. I'll be reaching out to each one of the registered small businesses to give a contact information as well.
Thank you all for being here. I want to reiterate that we are here to support you. Please reach in to the numbers that were given if you have more questions or need more clarification on the information that has been offered to you today. Please do not hesitate to reach in to receive that clarification. We appreciate the work that you are doing out here in the community, and we want to continue to support that work. So thanks again for being here and have a great Friday.
Thank you also for being here, and thank you for saying that, Tamika. I just really agree with, with what Sharon was saying. And I just want to reiterate that when she was saying to, if you have questions, if you're going through, rather than putting comments on the bid, to just put your questions down and call. Don't make any changes to what is there. That following the steps and not assuming that we understand what you're saying without following or without answering questions is crucial. Every question that asks needs responded to, and that will really help you to be successful with your bid. So the questions we're happy to answer. Don't struggle through it. There's lots of resources for you to be successful, and that's what we want to see for you. So thank you for attending, and thank you for your attention to this today.
Excuse me, Mona, right before you give we do have another question. Are bonds ever waived for small contracts? Again, are bonds ever waived for small contracts?
Thank you, Marlise. I'll answer that question, and the answer is no. As I mentioned earlier, if your bid is more than $10,000, a bid guarantee and contract bond or a certified check, letter of credit, or a cashier's check is required.
Sharon, I was also going to say, I know she was probably talking about construction, but if she wasn't, bids aren't required for anything but construction. Is my correct?
That is correct, Brad.
Or bonds,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Bonds.
Yes. And there may be other special circumstances, as I stated earlier, that are non-construction that may require a bond.
Thank you both. And Mona, and then I'll go after you.
Yeah, thank you everybody for being here today. I appreciate all the questions. Again, my one tip is read the requirements of the bids carefully. Review the time frame that's on the bids and the ITBs carefully. Try to attend some of this question and answer sessions. Sometimes we might not be able to help individual vendors, but we do try to help anybody whenever we can. So reach out to us. We are here to help you, and make sure you're following that whatever information's in the bid and ITBs, so RFPs. Thank you. Thank you, Marlies, for putting this together.
Oh, you're welcome. As you can see, I put up a quote on the screen on the board, but I think this has value to what we're talking about today. It came from Steve Jobs, and it says, "I'm convinced that about half of what separates the successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful ones is pure preservation." And I think that for small businesses, as you go through what you do, this stands that tall right beside you. You have to keep this. And I'm amazed about, as I'm doing this work, the small businesses that are still functioning and still going through, and you have to have this involved. So I hope you gained information and insight this morning during the coffee and conversations on how to be a successful bidder. We know it was a lot of information to take in, but just know that our doors are open with questions if you want to talk to any one of the coordinators or our Office of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion. I appreciate the thoughtfulness, sorry about that, my screen just scrolled, of all the presenters and panelists today for taking time out of your morning, especially on a Friday morning. To our county administrator who joins us this morning, as well as our partners at the MBAC Center. Special thanks to Janine and to Sharon Francis behind the scenes for hosting this event today. Also to our small and emerging businesses is why we do it today, to help you become a successful bidder. We know there are barriers within county government, but we want to try to alleviate some of those barriers. So this is why we hold these series. Stay tuned because there will be more coffee and conversations to come. Hope you have a fantastic Friday. And
Marlies, I
yes.
have one additional comment, and I'm
Go
sorry.
right ahead. No, you're fine.
I just wanted to say that certified minority businesses can apply to the state to act as surety for purposes of a bid and performance bonds on contracts with the state or political subdivision of the state, including counties. So they would need to contact the Director of Development Services and find out more information on how the state can assist with bonding, okay?
Oh, thank you very much, Sharon.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. We'll put that information as we hand it out as well. Thank you. That was a good tip.
Thank you.
No other comments. We're going to end our coffee and conversations. Thank you all and have a great day.
You too.